If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Say it. Say bye.
Buy our merch.
Look there and say it. Say it.
Buy our merch.
Say hi, people.
Hi, people.
What's your name?
Good.
How are you? Tell them what your name is.
My name is Blippi.
Blippi?
Yeah.
He likes watching Blippi, obviously.
What is Blippi?
It's a little show. Actually, it was this guy that saw these stupid shows that they were making for kids, and he decided that he could make them better.
He too could make a stupid
Yeah, because he
show?
saw his nephews watching it, and so he started making. He would go to. It's like a grown man, and he'll go to like places and play on kids' toys and jump around like kids do. Kids love his show. I heard so much bad stuff about it, but it's not. It's been great, and the kids love it. Keeps them occupied for hours sometimes.
Hi, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
No,
Say
say
hi, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
say hi, DJ Gabe.
Hi, DJ.
Look right there. Look right there. Say hi, DJ Gabe.
Hi, DJ Gabe.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
last thing. Throw your hands up and yell, Radiohead!
Radiohead.
Yeah! Okay, we love you.
I love you. All right, go to bed now.
All right, DJ Gabe has brought us more Radiohead.
Speaking
up
of
next.
We have
is-
baby formula by the name of Fuji Bear. You know, dear listener, formula standards have not been updated since 1980 in the United States of America, and that's the reason why we went to Europe to get this formula manufactured. We actually tried the formula on our own kids because our own kids couldn't take regular American formula. We had to use Nutramigen, which is like $50 for 14 ounces. We had to use soy formula, which smells and tastes disgusting, which the kid hated. And then we found out that the Europeans are light years ahead of us relative to that, and that the standards for being a formula company in Europe are extremely rigorous. Pretty much
Which is the opposite of- yeah,
none
because-
of the American companies would pass over there.
You guys, 1980 is when they last updated
Before we were born.
It's insane. Anyway.
Anyway,
Jinx. Okay, so we have Radiohead Pyramid Song up next. That's from the Amnesiac album.
okay.
Their albums Kid A and Amnesiac were recorded at the same time. Oh my gosh, but
goodness.
Amnesiac was released much later. Kid A, October 2nd of 2000, and Amnesiac, May 30th of 2001. Tom York said Stephen Hawking talks about the theory that time is another force. That time is completely clinical. No, please say that word. I don't know why my mind is doing this.
Cyclical.
Thank you. It's something I found in Buddhism as well. That's what Pyramid Song is about, and the fact that everything is going in circles. According to bassist Colin Greenwood, it was the image of people being ferried across the river of death that most affected Tom York. This is reflected in the song's many references to Dante's imagery journey through hell, purgatory, heaven in the Divine Comedy. These include the black-eyed angels, a moon full of stars, and jumping into the river.
Okay, guys, Radiohead.
And that was Imaginary Journey.
Pyramid Song.
I swear, sometimes.
I didn't say a word. Pyramid Song, Radiohead, let's do it. That was a false alarm. Just wanted to see if you guys were paying attention. No
Pyramid
vanilla.
Song. Let's go.
My computer's getting chippy.
Our internet. I think it's the internet.
That would have nothing to do with this stuff.
Jumped in the river, what did I see? Black-eyed angels swam with me. A moon full of stars and astral cars, and all the figures I used to see. All my lovers were there with me. All my past and future. Oh, we all went to heaven in a little rowboat. There was nothing to fear, nothing to die. Jumped into the river. Black-eyed angels swam with me. A moon full of stars and astral cars, and all the figures I used to see.
up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
Ah! It's a deal of a deal.
Song was spooky as hell.
Yeah.
That was a really spooky song.
Yeah, there was something satisfying and not disheartening, but something that kind of made you feel off the edge, like spooky, haunting, like sort of.
Yeah. So you say he was looking at time as a force?
Right.
Is that what he said?
Time is another force. That time is completely cyclical.
It's another force, and that time is completely cyclical, so it's going in a cycle, past life, and all that jazz. He's interesting when he was like. It seems like he was focusing on death, which all of us have to at some point. Jumped in the river. Black-eyed angels were swimming with him. You got that from Dante's Inferno. We're going through that book right now where people are having these near-death experiences.
Yeah.
And / past life, regressions, like remembering things from a past life, which I don't believe that it's a person from the past life, but I do believe that something is happening. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's consciousnesses get blended. I don't know what it is, but there are definitely people who know shit about the way people 100 years ago died or whatnot. It was this kid from World War II. I mean, that wasn't 100 years ago at the time that, but like, it's weird, man. Like this kid, he knew like 38 pieces of data about this dude's life that nobody else knew.
It was before he was at an age where he could read.
Yeah, it was before he was pre-literate.
There was a lot of stuff there was like a couple things. There was like one or two different things that they thought that the kid had it wrong, and then upon further investigation, it was like, oh my gosh, like at the last minute something got switched.
Yeah.
And it was what the kid said.
Yeah.
Weird.
And he says, in this song, he says, we all went to heaven in a little rowboat.
Yeah. That part was sad to me.
How come?
Because, well, one, when he said, all my lovers were there with me, all of my past and futures, and we all went to heaven in a little rowboat. I think, like, there was an example that you talked about once where you were at the cross with somebody and you guys both nodded and then went your ways.
Yep.
So like this one, like where everybody from his past, because, well, I mean, realistically, you can't be with 5 people at the same time, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it doesn't matter how significant or insignificant. Can I use the charger? Like those relationships were from the past, and so he's saying, like when he was singing it, I was like, oh, that's cool. When I thought about if you were singing it, I obviously didn't like it anymore. But the idea that everybody is all together, and I think you kind of get that in Christianity, where there's like a feasting table and everybody's all there together. And I kind of think that that's what kind of like what he was trying to communicate. But like when it said we all went to heaven in a little rowboat, I liked the simplicity of that, like, because life gets really, really complex, and then like at the end of it, like we're just in a rowboat and we're all going to heaven together. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And if you could, like in regular life, one person couldn't be in a boat with all their past people that they had relationships with. I mean, there would probably be some fighting, some whatever, but this is different. Like everybody's past it now. It's just, you know what I mean?
As I said, there's nothing to fear, nothing to doubt. So
yeah,
like if you get to that existence, then petty things like those kinds of issues you would assume they would disappear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when I listen to these people, at first I got the book just because I was doing research And I was like, oh, this woman she's not a spiritual person. Although after she did all her
older
work,
lady?
after she did all her work, she did say she got spiritual because the information changed her. Because so again, we're talking about near-death experiences, and people are, the famous one where this woman is describing a shoe that was on the left side of a roof that nobody knew, but she said she floated above and saw it. And then they went up to check, and sure enough, there it was. I mean, this woman's published. Lindsay Kane. I mean, she's published in the New York Times. She was the one that broke the UAP story in 2017. That was her. So, I mean, she's. So when I first got that book, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see what the scientific data says about, this phenomenon.
Yeah.
But then when you start hearing the stories, man, it's unbelievable. Like how much evidence there is for that life after death. It's incredible. And then on the other hand, you also have, we keep making reference to this, the recent Nobel Peace Prize winners for physics, one of whom was an American, that basically explained to us that the universe is not locally real. So there are two principles. One is locality, which is to say that things can only influence each other if they're in a direct space with each other, and you can't travel faster than the speed of light. Mm-hmm. The speed of light is a standard speed limit for the universe. It's the only objective thing.
That's how we've measured things
in the universe, right? For the Einstein's theory of relativity, right? So the only thing that's not relative to time and space is the speed of light. Okay, so you can't have anything travel faster than the speed of light. So that's but in order for objects to influence each other, they must be local to one another. Okay, that's locality. Realism is that objects carry their own independent measurements aside from observation. So the question is, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? A local realist, which 99.99% of us are, would say yes. I would say no, it doesn't make a sound because the tree doesn't really exist unless it's measured. So the moon is not there unless you're observing it, right? It's the observer in physics. Okay. So now we know that the universe is not locally real. We know that particles can communicate with each other from literally opposite ends of the universe and have instantaneous, quote, communication. Okay? So the principle of locality isn't true. And then the concept of realism is not true either, because we've got evidence of particles that come into being upon observation but do not exist prior to that. So if all the trees and everything are made up of particles, then nothing is local or real. Okay, so then what is everything? Well, everything is a product of mentation, of a mind. So this is no theology at all. We're just talking science here, and we're talking about Nobel Prize.
Yes,
okay.
Because most Christians don't go to talk about this.
Okay, so that means then that the name of the game is I was just reading a scientific paper today, and the guy basically said, yeah, the universe isn't locally real. And then he said, basically, but for normal people who don't care about science, just continue to believe the illusion is true. It's basically what he said. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that's how the thing ended. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
He said basically, just continue to believe that the illusion is true. It's like, but to me, it's like, well, wait a second.
It's too much work to.
Well, wait a second. If that means that matter, the thing that we call matter, is not fundamental, that means consciousness is fundamental. Well, that changes everything, because if consciousness is fundamental, then on what basis could you say that consciousness is completely eliminated upon death? Mm-hmm. Just logically speaking, you cannot extrapolate that from that. So when you look at all these near-death experiences, it's like, well, this makes sense even from a secular perspective. All you have to do is say that consciousness is the only thing that actually is. The physical plane we were in is a temporary situation, and your consciousness is going to go back to being a unregulated consciousness when you, quote, die, because the brain does not produce consciousness. I mean, the brain is a filter or a channel for consciousness to limit our consciousness in this realm so that we can function in it, because if we were completely aware of everything that was actually going on, we wouldn't be able to focus and function on this level. So my point is, you can believe in life after death, or if you want to say consciousness after death, I'd probably say post-death consciousness is probably a better way to say it, where your ego is still intact, where you still have all of your, your memories, your personalities, your picadillos, whatever you want to call them. Like, you could easily make a secular case for that based on just hard data, not wishful thinking, just hard data. I've been trying to get into a debate with some atheists because I wanted to see like how they function with the lack, without local realism.
Yeah, it's weird though. A lot of them they don't have access to the internet to get on with you.
Yeah,
their
for
phones don't work
whatever reason. Yeah. So like that to me is, what's up, Spain? That to me is like, one of the things that's fascinating is all these people say when they've had those experiences, they no longer fear death.
Yep.
It's usually a positive experience for people who've experienced an NDE, as far as like.
That's true. Well, there are some but for the most part, yeah. There are some people that come back and they're terrified.
Yeah, but those are the minority.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
exactly.
but they're still changed for life too.
Yeah.
But right here where he says there's nothing to fear, nothing to doubt, like.
He said was. No. No, not there is. There was.
Yeah, but.
Oh, I was thinking.
Again, these people have these experiences, but then it settles them in this world as well. So.
It's interesting because it's kind of like when people take those DMT trips.
What do you mean?
Well, it kind of sounds like some of the stuff that people say, they kind of sounds similar.
Yes.
The way, what they experience and how they experience it and how it changes them. And both of those are like, seem to be like some out of body sort of experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So, like that concept that your consciousness continues. If you want to use the metaphor of the ship in the sea and all the rest of it, like it's all talking about the same thing. It's transitioning.
Yeah, it's that river
from one state to another, right? So whether it's Styx or the Jordan River in Christian theology, it stands for transitioning.
Yeah.
And I think if people looked at life, quote, life after death or the afterlife from the perspective of just simply consciousness, I think it sounds less wooey.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because at minimum, we all have to agree that from a physical standpoint, we have no scientific explanation as to how your brain generates consciousness. I mean, your brain is a muscle. How come your heart doesn't generate consciousness? Mm-hmm. What is it about the constitution of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, there's neurons in there. It's like, no, there's no neurons. They don't exist. Those are reflections of a disassociative boundary, as Bernardo Kastrup would say. If the universe isn't locally real, then what is your brain? If your brain doesn't have standalone existence, then what is it?
Yeah.
And so Kastrup would say that it's all these things that you see in the quote physical world are just the after effects of what's happening in the invisible world. That's also like if you throw a rock into an ocean, it's going down, but then you see these to mistake the ripple for the pond is the issue. Okay, what do you got for this song?
So this one had like that. It did have that sort of eerie sound to it. but then there was also a calmness about it. But then there was also like a, I don't know, something I couldn't put my finger on with the song. Something that maybe made me feel uneasy. Something that I didn't like. I'm not sure. Not that it was like the sound, but maybe it was the idea of not being completely sure, like the song itself. You know, because obviously that this is just an idea. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
But I think that conceptually, you know, there's like what you did with it. Yeah, I think that we could do that. But yeah, I definitely think it had a sort of eerie sound to it. And anytime that I think that there's that sort of discussion about sort of crossing over and people's thoughts on it and what is on the other side. But I like that he was saying like we all went. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I did like the sound of it. It did seem like it was a little off, maybe? People were saying, wait,
it was.
No, what I was going to say was people were saying that it was off, but I didn't experience it as off, and I usually do, so I thought that's interesting, because there are times where we're like practicing, and you're like, you're a little off, and I don't realize that I'm off, and I didn't realize, I didn't realize like that this one was a little off.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, perhaps.
Yeah, this was purposefully... You know.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear that it was.
Off.
I couldn't hear it being off, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they called it the pyramid song. Apparently, like the way that it's written is probably looks like a pyramid or a triangle or something. I don't know. Okay. But I really liked it, especially when the strings came out. The strings were crazy because I wasn't expecting it, and it was like it was a little bit off, like a half step, and then the strings came in. It was just completely unexpected, but it worked. It was dramatic. Would you give it?
9.4. Wow, these are all getting high ratings.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 9.5.
Almost gave it a 9.5. Now you beat me.
The song could also tap into the ending of The Lord of the Rings, where Frodo and Gandalf are sailing away. Yeah. Oh yeah, XBM says the peer-reviewed study about the woman who was told by voices about her tumor is something everyone should read. Yeah, that was a crazy situation. But it talks about
wild.
Consciousness. This woman heard a voice in her head that says, "You have a tumor, and you need to get it checked out." And so she went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Well, we're not just going to give you a, whatever." And so he started investigating. For insurance
reasons, they have to keep going through a bunch of things.
He's like, do you have, these symptoms, yada yada yada. So anyway, this was going on for like over the course of a year or something like that. Finally, somebody listened to her. They did the CAT scan or whatever, and sure enough, she had a tumor there. And after she got out of surgery or whatever, she heard a voice in her head say, "We were happy to assist you. Have a great day," and she never heard it again.
I wonder what she went on to do in her life.
And there was a peer-reviewed study about it.
Yeah.
And the folks that did the study said, this is legit, this is real. Do what you will with that, dear listener. It's real. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point. It's like consciousness, like there's so much about consciousness we don't know. And we talk about this, like we believe that every person is really a collection of multiple consciousnesses. Mm-hmm. And then there's one executive consciousness that's supposed to be responsible for these subgroups. Mm-hmm. That's basically our, our belief system right now, based on the things that we've just been in a lot of scientific literature for the past 2 years, really. Yeah. It's really odd. Like it's been a lot of, but it's fascinating though, because when you go into those fields and you hear what these people are saying, and then you do a little philosophy of mind with Bernardo Kastrup or Don Hoffman, like it opens up the world in so many different possibilities. But consciousness is a hell of a thing. 9.5, dear listener.
9.4.
9.5. This was written by Tom York after a visit to an exhibition of Egyptian art during a 2-week sojourn in Copenhagen in 1999. He told
Pyramid
MTV,
song.
that song literally took 5 minutes to write, but yet it came from all these mad places. It's something I never thought I could actually get across in a song and lyrically. See that?
Okay.
Think about that.
Cool.
He wrote that song in 5 minutes. A lot of people are saying this is their favorite Radiohead song. This is what I'm talking about. Like, Ben asked this question. He said, do sounds want to be heard? You could also say, do lyrics want to be written? When people say things like muse, like this was my muse, like there's this phenomena where like you have writer's block and then all of a sudden something happens and everything just flies out.
Yeah.
Or you'll hear people talk about like these amazing songs that they wrote in 5 minutes. Like, again, I think that there's some mysterious consciousness stuff going on in those moments. But
That's
because
interesting. How much of what is yours is actually yours alone?
yeah, because we have so many, we have such a postmodern understanding of everything now, and we're so scientific now, even though everything I said was science. The problem is that scientists are discovering things that theologians and philosophers were talking about for thousands of years, and so now there's that sort of like, we told you so, and then the scientists are saying, yeah, but you didn't give us any evidence, so now we have evidence, so now we can like be friends and sail off into the ether together. All right. There you go, dear listener.
More Radiohead on the way. We'll be right back.
Vin is talking about me. I mean, I don't know. The Beatles definitely had something going on with that. They definitely did. Vin out.
Sorry,
Gone.